Hello, we are once again at Wycombe Air Park here in Microsoft Flight Simulator in the Cessna 152. I promise this is going to be the last visit here for a little while. I just wanted to kind of bookend the circuit practice that I've been doing with a circuit in a CROSSWIND. And actually this might not be the last video, but I won't go there now. We are going to be using the crab technique for a crosswind landing in the Cessna 152, or at least attempting it, and attempting to fly the circuit in the crosswind. So we will be adjusting our headings along the way. Okay, so we go and get in the aeroplane. I'm just going to check the volume levels to make sure that I'm not being drowned out by the engine. No, it's looking good. Okay, so full throttle down the runway. The aeroplane's already configured, by the way. I did that before I got in it. I'm having to use a hefty amount of right rudder. The plane is trying to weathercock into the wind, which is coming from our left at 10 knots. So we begin pulling up at 50 knots. And we climb. And the aeroplane is trying to weathercock. So we want 230 degrees to maintain runway direction, which we are doing. And then as we cross the edge of the airfield, we turn further left to 220 degrees and we continue climbing. Okay, so now we are looking out to the side as well as climbing. We're keeping this 220 degrees going, we're keeping the direction going. I'm trying to keep everything in the screen here to help you. So the wind's gusting a little bit, so I've tried to make this as realistic as possible. I've got the turbulence on reel, so the wind coming across the ground is going to throw us around on approach. So it's going to be unpleasant. So we can see we're just coming out past the villages. That's the one we're going to need to go around. So we're going to go along this valley. So we'll just go a little bit further this way to make sure we go around the village. Okay, so we're going to begin our left turn. Oh, we've gone too high on the climb. So this is again, so we're adding more things in I'm having to deal with. So we'll just bleed that extra height off as we turn. So we're keeping an eye on the ailerons. Cut the power a bit more and we should fall back down towards the ground. So we're turning for 330 degrees. You can see the tower in the distance, you can see the road, so we're aiming in between them. So there we go, just gone beyond 330, but we're looking good. So we're in the right place in the sky at least. So let's press space so we can see down and see this reference, this line of trees as we come over them. So we're going with the wind at the moment, so we're not being blown sideways. Okay, so we can see the reference line of trees coming through underneath. Now we're going to begin our right turn. Just come back down to 1500 feet, so that's 1000 feet over the airfield elevation, which is good. I think I've turned a little bit late looking at the visual references. So this field is our reference. So the wind is coming from this way, so we're crabbing slightly into the wind by 10 degrees. So we're looking for 70 degrees by the look of it on the compass. Yeah, we're a little bit, I'm just looking at the line of the roads here. So you use visual references on a VFR circuit. So the line of the road here doesn't quite look right to me. So we're just crabbing back a little bit to get back onto the pattern that we would like to be on. It's still a little bit high, so we'll just chop the power back a little bit and we can descend gently as we approach. So we can now turn back gently but not too much to 70 degrees. Okay, so we are looking to turn just inside this road and the edge of the industrial estate towards 150 degrees, which will be directly into the wind. We're looking for the house that will be below us. We're also looking to cross this water, or to approach the water at least. We're just to the right of it. So you can see we're actually, the aircraft's pointing this direction, but we're travelling in this direction, so we're crabbing across the wind. So here comes the features that we wanted to look out for at West Wycombe. So this is a first go. I make no excuses. I'm not going to be great at this to begin with. It's going to take practice. There's the church on the hill. So we can begin our left turn. So we're just keeping the wing on the marker on the turn coordinator. We're turning towards 150 degrees. There we go. We've got 150 degrees on the compass, and we're going to start descending gently. We also need to lose some speed to get below 80 knots. It doesn't help we're travelling into the wind now, so our speed over the ground is less than our indicated airspeed. So we're trying to get the speed down in time and drop to 1,000 feet on this leg, and then we make the turn at the appropriate height to see the VASI lights. So let's go and sit down in the cockpit so we can see under the edge. There we go, we're appropriate speed now, so flaps down for the first notch just to give us some drag, get the power back on, and we're looking for the VASI lights. We're a little bit high still, but we've not made our turn yet. Okay, let's start turning. We're a little bit fast, wanting to come down to about 60 knots. So I've reduced the revs. Remember, the wind is coming from the left, so we are going to be crabbing. So let's centre the view up. VASI lights are good, one white, one red, meaning we are in the right place vertically. Now we need to crab 10 degrees to the left, which we are doing. We're down to about 60 degrees, so open the throttle to maintain that. There's a lot of turbulence, an awful lot. So I'm going to sit up in the cockpit. So we're crabbing along the centre line, cutting the throttle, and as we fall to the ground, we're going to turn to face the runway with the rudder. Perfect. Okay, let's have one more go at that then. So full throttle, flaps up. Don't need flaps for takeoff on this runway, so we're going through 50 knots, rotate. Back to 10 degrees offset on the nose. And then turn another 10 degrees, so we're going out to 220 degrees for our climb out away from Booker, and we keep the nose up, so we manage the speed with altitude now to get out to our 1,500 feet altitude, which is 1,000 feet over the airfield elevation. We're going a bit slow, so we're going to drop the nose gently just to recover some of that airspeed. There's quite a bit of turbulence. I guess it's some of these copses of trees chuck the wind in the air. The ground isn't flat around here by any means as well. There's several valleys that will channel the air, I guess. Going a bit too far to the left, so it's very easy for the aeroplane to weathercock into the wind, so you have to be mindful of that the whole time, really. Okay, so we're coming up to 1,500 feet, so we're going to cut the throttle back, look sideways. There's the town that we're looking to go around and the valley that we will turn up in a moment. Okay, we're just keeping an eye on everything, so we'll do the turn a little bit earlier this time. So the wing is on the marker, we're on the right altitude, we're good on the airspeed, we're good on the revs, we're a little bit low on the revs, let's open it up a little bit. Airplane's bucking around a little bit in the turbulence as the wind comes through this valley, I guess. And we're turning to 330 degrees and we're looking good so far. So we're looking for our lines, which are the road and the tower. So we're going to go in between them, kind of a third of the way towards the road, which is looking good. And again we look down to hopefully see the field pass by underneath, which will aid us as a turning point on the field. The field is just coming, so there's the field. So we're going to begin our left turn a little bit earlier this time than last time. We're better on the height this time, we're better on the revs, so it's all looking a lot better. Keep an eye on the turn coordinator. Let's hope it's a bit less eventful. You can see the field that we aim for. So remember, we need to turn to the right of it, so we're looking for 70 degrees rather than 60. Again, I think the wind during the turn is pushing us further, just looking at the orientation of some of these features. So we're going to try and recover some of that by turning into the wind. I'm going to scoot across the cockpit so we can keep reference on that. So there's no hurry to do it, we'll just do it during the entire downwind leg. See, the actual aircraft is probably travelling that direction, but we'll neaten that up as we get closer. Oops, the mouse just moved. Okay, so we'll pull back around to 70 now. And we're pretty much on a line. What I was looking for earlier was this line through the field here, which is kind of the place you need to be, or over this field at least. We're going a little bit low, so we'll just raise the nose gently, recover that altitude. Once you've got a bit of altitude over the flat fields, the turbulence almost vanishes, but it's a different story when you're near the town. Okay, so we're looking out for our landmarks now. Flying towards the road, but we will turn before we get to it, so to know where to turn, keep an eye down here. So there's the church on the hill, the golden ball on top of it. I think it's actually modelled. So again, we make the turn to 150, which should end with us aiming into the heart of this industrial estate. So there's 150 degrees. We've lost some speed on the turn on purpose, so then we can extend the flaps slightly, which then give us some drag, and we can lose height. Obviously going into the wind is easier to lose height because our speed over the ground is slower, so we have more time. So just dropping off altitude here, and we start looking out for the airfield over there. I think somebody else is doing circuits as well. Looks like I've started a bit of a challenge on the internet to fly the circuit accurately at Wycombe Air Park. So we're at 1200 feet. Just losing that little bit more height. Extend over the industrial estate a little bit further, and then begin our turn. So we're at 1000 feet, so let's start the turn. So we don't need to turn that steeply, but this actually helps us in a way because we are just skirting the edge of Wycombe. Okay, we're not following the the circuit perfectly, but as long as we come in a planned, controlled manner. You know what, I think I might rather be high, seeing as how turbulent this was when we were on the VASI lights. So we're crabbing. Let's center the view up and sit us up in the cockpit. So we're crabbing about 10 degrees. So the crabbing technique is you get over the runway. Whoa, that turbulence really is wicked. We're going a bit slow, that's why. I guess it's the main road causes some of it. So having a bit more altitude didn't really help us. So cut the throttle, manage the crab angle, and then just before you're about to fall onto the runway, you straighten the plane up on the rudder and maintain the pressure, which keeps you in a straight line without weaving all over the place. So yeah, there were some mistakes in there, you know, some more things to practice, but that's the whole point of this. This is really to follow real world practices in the simulator and to learn myself, and you know, to show other people that these exercises really are worth it. It will improve your flying. It's certainly improving mine. So let's just taxi back in. So hopefully you enjoyed that. So that was a circuit, the runway 24 circuit at Wycombe Air Park, with a 10 knot crosswind coming from 150 degrees. So hopefully that's useful. So if you wanted to go and set that up in the simulator, the way I did it was went into the weather, chose the clear skies, and then just went and selected the mean ground level and set the wind in there, 150 degrees, 10 knots. I've got the turbulence on realistic, so any buildings, copses of trees, things like that, like the motorway, they caused enormous amounts of turbulence. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. I won't go through the whole shutting down the aeroplane act in the video because you'll get bored of that, seeing it 50 times. And hopefully I'll see you again soon.